All right, hey everybody, what's up? How's it going? Hope you guys are doing good. I'm Peter Cimetti, founder and publisher of Alterna Comics, and we're going to be talking a bit about a publisher's perspective dealing with the fallout of cancellation of titles. We have a cancellation and continuation of titles for 2023. Alterna Comics released that earlier today, and we mentioned it a few days ago on social media, on Twitter. So this show is going to be an hour. The reason it's going to be an hour, it's going to be a timed show. I'm going to wind up Tiny Tim right here. We can't just be serious and dour the entire time, right? A little bit of fun. Tiny Tim's going to be, like I said, wound up for an hour. And when he goes off, the show's over. So the reason it's going to be an hour, I wish I could do this the whole night, but I mean, do I really? Not really necessarily. But the reason it's going to be an hour is because I've got a campaign to fulfill. So when I get to doing that, that's important. This stuff it's important, but let's not dwell upon it too much because it is what it is. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to say hello to you guys in the chat, and then I'm going to show the video that we had uploaded today on Alterna's page. Ara, what's up? Ara says, hey y'all, hi Pete, you're awesome. You're awesome. Thank you, Ara. Hope you're doing good. We got Statistical Zero here too, says, hey Pete, and hello to the chat. You have my attention. Thank you, Stato. Rex Doom is here as well. What's up, Rex? Hope you're doing good. We got Metatron's Cube as a StreamYard, I swear. StreamYard, learn how to show the emojis already. Cat, orange, whistling. Midnight Mausoleum. What's up, Midnight Mausoleum? We got Randy Scribner here as well. Hope you're doing good, Randy. We have Darth Josh here too. AL is also in the house. What's up, AL? We have Jackson Zelda here. Says, glad to be here, Pete. Can you go over each series individually and why they are leaving? Yes, I will be doing that. Too much, as much as I possibly can. I'll put it that way. But I will be going over that. We'll be showing it's about a 2-minute or so video. We got Marsh Makes Comics, and not just also the series that are leaving. I'm also going to be talking about the series that are here and what we're doing for the rest of 2023 as well. We got Marsh Makes Comics, says, hello friends, hope all is well. Hope you're doing good too, Marsh. Jefferson Roswell says, still looking forward to Alternate 2023. It's going to be a really good year. You got a lot of reason to look forward to it. Thank you, Jefferson. Dr. Mask, hope you're doing good. Says, hail Pete, hail chat. Hail Dr. Mask. Thank you, Dr. Mask. And Arthur is here too. Says, hey everyone, and hi Pete. So that looks like it's about it for now with the chat. I'm sure there's going to be more people coming in throughout the course of it. And let's play the video. Here we go. So, as you guys can see from the video, as far as titles that are leaving, we've got Downcast, Gods and Gears, Legends of Log, Mighty Mascots, and Voidwalker. So, a couple of things with this. I'll get to the ones that are, I guess, easiest to talk about first. So, Gods and Gears and Voidwalker. Gods and Gears had not had a new issue out since, I believe, from the video, I believe it said April 2020, right? Voidwalker hadn't had a new video out pretty much around, a new issue out pretty much around the same time. During that course of time, I would have loved to have more issues out of those titles. It just never happened. I thought that perhaps we would get more titles. I'll start with Gods and Gears first. I thought we would get more issues of that title, and unfortunately, it just never was in the works. I believe the last time I talked to that creative team, it was something like 6 to 8 penciled pages were done on issue 5. No matter how many times I talked to Ryan about it, that was my main contact with the issue, with the series. It was always the same thing. It was the same thing. It was coming along, he was going to talk to Dean, and Dean had other projects, Ryan had other things going on, and that was about it. And 3 years. It became very obvious that the title wasn't going to really be worked on. The title basically was going to sit there, and if it was done, it's supposed to be another 4-parter. I would have loved to see more of an episodic ongoing. And it became obvious that they wanted to put it out as a 4-parter, and they wanted to kind of put it out more when it was kind of done. At least 1 or 2 issues were done. The way the schedule is currently looking, that could have been done right now. The earliest we would have put a Gods and Gears issue on the schedule that's already set would have been towards the end of 2024. Since that wasn't the scenario, and those issues were not done, nothing close to done, the earliest we probably, and this is me being very generous with it, probably would have been around 2025 to 2026 at the earliest. 5 to 6 years between issues doesn't make a whole lot of sense for me. As is the case with a bunch of these titles that kind of, it's hard to say that they were canceled because they weren't really here for a while to begin with. There's a lot of new Alterna readers in the past 2 or 3 years since we left Diamond that have jumped on board because of the crowdfunding. These issues predate that. So they don't even, there's a time where they didn't even read those issues. They wouldn't have been aware. They would have thought that that was already a series that was over. So that's the story with Gods and Gears. It just didn't seem to make sense for anybody as far as us moving forward with that. And for Voidwalker, it's the same kind of scenario. Only, as far as I know, they didn't have any pages done. It was just more about, one day they'll be getting something to me. And it is enough 1 more days. It just didn't make sense. And then Spencer's building up his own brand. He might as well just publish it on his own. It makes sense to me. If I was Spencer and I was starting my own brand, which, obviously I did. Alterna was my own thing. It was my own self-publishing label. And then I started taking on other people when I found that other people kept submitting to us. And they all kind of had the same story, and I figured maybe I could help them out, and we could actually get some work out there because they were coming up against a wall in the industry where they just didn't know people weren't giving them a shot. I figured, maybe I'll do that. A young, dumb, and stupid idea. But I don't regret it. When at the time I was about 21, 22, to give perspective to it. So Spencer, to me, I know how many... me of it, all people, I know how much time, I know the effort required to do your own thing, to do your own label, to build it up. You shouldn't spend that time elsewhere. So that makes sense to me. It makes sense to me to have, if he wants to continue Voidwalker on your own. I like the fact that he's doing his own thing. Alterna was always envisioned as being like a stepping stone for people within comics. You kind of have your training wheels at Alterna, and then you kind of go off. Many people at Alterna, that never happened, unfortunately. because comics can wear you down. I get it. But it doesn't mean that I regret publishing those books. People have to also get some perspective behind the fact that Alterna has been around for 17 years. This is our start of our 17th year. So because of that, you got to see the books that we publish now. There's been hundreds of books and even more issues of books that aren't here anymore for one reason or another. Whether it was they were just a one and done graphic novel, whether it was that the creator didn't want to make any more, whether it was that their sales weren't up to what they should have been, whether there were disputes between me and the creator or creative team, whatever it might have been, for one reason or another, there's hundreds of departures and hundreds of people coming on board. That's just the way this stuff is. It's just the way it is. There's nothing abnormal about it. So then getting back to the titles, Legends of Log, that issue, I believe issue 4 was on the winter campaign of 2021. And I had thought that there would be more of that. The last time I had talked to the creator, he'd plan on a 7-issue arc. And then no more of that. So it ends with issue 4, and that's that. Then we have, what else? We have Downcast. Downcast with 7 issues. And Clinton had released his video earlier today discussing the various sales and whatnot. It's that, and it's also there's just a sense of a lack of urgency, I feel, with some of these titles, some of these creators. So I held Clint to a standard where I really wanted him to be one of the main creators with one of the main titles, right? But for whatever reason, things weren't working out. So it became apparent that, and I don't want anyone to be in a situation that'll turn any creator, where it made more sense for him to just continue it on his own. He was successful with it on his own, and I think he'd continue to be successful with it on his own. And there's no reason to put either of us in a position where there would be someone suffering for lack of whatever was going on. So it is what it is. It's a business decision. They're all business decisions from everybody, whether they were cancellations at Alterna or canceled by the creator. But these decisions, they're frustrating and disappointing. I get it. I empathize with you guys. I'm right there with you. I've said it before. All the titles, I'm a fan first of these titles. I'm a reader of these titles that come in. I like them, and I want to see more people like them. So I want to try to help them out. But sometimes it doesn't work out. That's just how it is. And then Mighty Mascots. I've already commented on this on Twitter, but it was one of the more puzzling instances of a cancellation I've ever seen, only because of the fact that there's an ongoing in-demand Indiegogo campaign. And so 7, 8, and 9 will be put out by Keith. Keith will be putting those out. He'll be fulfilling his campaign. Alterna won't be involved. What that means for the books, what that means for how he's going to put them out or anything like that, what that means for any of it, it's up to him. It's up to him completely. It's his book. Alterna's creator-owned. I want to let that be known and stress that 100%. So what that means essentially is, okay, so you see like these trading cards. Baron Rat, right? This Mr. Crip series is no longer with Alterna, but Troy is more than happy to still be a part of Alterna in some way, shape, or form. So he likes the fact that the character could be on a trading card, or maybe one day we'll put it together as a giant, or maybe we'll still have the book. If we need to reprint, he said go for it if you need to reprint. So some creators, that's how it is, because Troy owns this. So he's just not putting out more new issues, but he still wants it to be a part of Alterna. Now, there's some other creators out there that they're completely done with comics. They made their comic and they're not going to make any more. And that's within their right. Again, Alterna 100% creator owned. Alterna doesn't own anyone's stuff. Alterna as a company doesn't even own my stuff. I own my stuff. So I own the chair, I own King Cryptid, I own the logo for, like, it came out on a Wednesday, even the concept of that book as well as an anthology, all that kind of stuff. Alterna doesn't own any intellectual property. So if a creator comes along and doesn't want to do something with their book, they don't. And there's not really anything I can do about it. I'm here to guide, I'm here to mentor, I'm here to kind of bounce ideas off of. I'm here to do as much as I possibly can to steer a creator in the right direction. But at the end of the day, it's up to the creator as to whether or not they want to go down that direction. So with that freedom comes responsibility. And if the creator is not living up to certain responsibilities, I have to say something to the creator and say, look, you're not hurting me necessarily, even though you are, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, but you're really hurting yourself and you're hurting your readers. And it's up to me to make sure that the creator understands that I am trying my best to communicate to you, your readers come first, your book comes first. What we want to do, what our ideas are, should all be of service to those things. So that is really what I'm supposed to be driving the point home all the time about. So, like I said before, with the instance of Mighty Mascots and Keith deciding to quit as he had issues that were supposed to be created officially with Alterna, that was puzzling to me, because we could have done that after. The 7, 8, and 9 could have come out and then we could have parted. But I'll be honest, I never got a response about anything. I was asking, I was trying to get answers about it, and I never did. I saw in his Indiegogo update that he had put that he had different goals or something like that in mind for his characters and his story over the past year or so, and realized that Alterna wasn't going to be a good fit. I don't know what those ideas and goals were. I was never communicated any of that. We never had a discussion about that. So you guys are in the dark as much as I am with a lot of this. It's some of it is, like I said, it's disappointing and it's frustrating, and I get it. I wish everybody the best. I hope they have successes. I hope they're able to do what they got to do. But at the same time, I would be lying to myself and to you guys if I said that in some of these instances, it's kind of heartbreaking. So it's one of those things where, we move forward because we got no other option. So there's a lot of great stuff to look forward to in 2023. A lot of these titles coming out are, to me, some of the strongest titles we ever put out, ever. We've had some pretty good titles over the years, but this is a real strong batch of not just books, but the creators making those books, which is so important. It goes hand in hand. You can't just have a great title. I've said it before. You guys have watched my show. You guys have seen Alterna grow and progress over the past bunch of years, whatever it's been. As far as YouTube goes, as far as seeing me talk about the books and having the books and the creators on air and things like that. This is a real strong group. And you need not just, like I said, you don't just need a great book or a good book or whatever it is. Obviously, that's a given. But you need creators who are driven. The fire's in the belly, right? They're passionate about their stories and their characters. They care about their readers. They care about entertaining their readers, moving their readers, and being consistent with that. You can't do this kind of a thing and it's not something that is just driving you to do it. That's not going to work out. You can't be someone who, I think I'm going to put out an issue every couple of years, maybe. You can't be someone where you feel like, well, the publisher needs to do all of it. In a creator-owned aspect, of where I'm telling you that the publisher doesn't own anything. Telling the publisher to do everything and essentially become the name and face and voice of your brand is doing you a lot more harm than good. I've stressed this before. There's a big reason why I do that, and it's not because I'm lazy or something like that, or I don't want to do the work or whatever. It's because, and I've had this happen from creators who left in the past, that we've had arguments where they go, I'm at a show, or I'm online, or this or that or whatever, and someone sends me a message, or they see me at a show and they think it's your title, or they think that you're the writer, or whatever it may be, because you're the one that's out there talking about it. And I go, well, someone has to. I mean, we need people to know about the book. You know, if you want to be that name, face, voice of your book, which you should be, then get out there and do it. I'm just here to help. I don't want to be the representation for that book. And there's been creators in the past that have been upset about that. And eventually it led to them leaving. So I always tell the creators, you know, make sure you're putting in that time and effort as well. Make sure that that part is important to you too. But again, there's some people that don't want to do that. So, you know, it's a case, I think, where someone gets involved with a publisher and maybe they shouldn't have gotten involved with a publisher. Maybe they should have just kind of did their own thing and stayed away from that avenue of the business. It's a live and learn process for everybody. So, well, with that said, because I know that's the most pertinent thing, I'll field some questions from you guys. We have about 40 minutes or so left, and I will get to your questions in the chat. So I'm scrolling up here, and let's see what we have. All right, so at the time where I played the video, there was Arthur right there. We got Gerald Lang. What's up, Gerald? Hope you're doing good. He says, I saw Clint's video. It was sad to hear that he's leaving Alterna. Yeah, I mean, these things happen, you know. But the good news is, like I said, it's creator owned. There's some publishers where they tie up the rights for the creator. Not a fortunate situation when that occurs. And I would never do that. In my 17 years of publishing, no matter how bad of a fallout it's ever been, and there's been some colorful characters that have said some very choice words to me over the years, I would never do that to a creator. And I've never done that to a creator. Hold their rights from them. Tell them that, like, you know, well, you got to sue me for those rights. I'm going to hang on to those rights. I'm not releasing this. I'm not doing that. Never done that. Never would do that. I couldn't look in the mirror if I did that. The whole purpose of Alterna is to empower creators and to entertain readers. Doing something like that to me would go against every single thing that this is all about and why I'm doing this. So I hope that he continues that. I know he'll continue his series. Rex says the Alterna in Memoriam video package. Indeed, in some respects. Adam Warlock, what's up, Adam? Hope you're doing good. Statistical Zero says still a tight lineup. Not a wasted page in the bunch. No, not at all. Not at all. And there's some really good stuff coming out. Really good stuff coming out this year from, what was that on there? Blood Realm, Horace H. Hoover. It came out on a Wednesday. King Cryptid. We got Red Koi, Unit 44, and then we have Wolf and Batsy. So that makes 7 active titles, right? I've joked about calling them the Magnificent 7, or the Sensational 7, or the Silver 7, because they've been a silver lining around this whole thing. But I'm looking forward to the distillation process and focusing on getting those titles to milestone points. And milestone points to me are double digits. Now, Blood Realm's already hit that. It came out on a Wednesday. We've got number 20 coming out. King Cryptid, I'm making King Cryptid reader willing for the rest of my life. I'm not even joking about that. So all the rest of them want to get there. I guarantee they'll get there. Wolf and Batsy, Brian's got like 30 issues or something like that. Wes, he's working on, I'm pretty sure the last time we talked, he's working on like outlines for like issue 14 and 15 and things like that. Fabrizio, the same thing. He's got his 5-issue miniseries that are kind of setting up the world of Horace H. Hoover, but he has so many stories, and those are the kind of titles I want. I'm done with titles that are like, let me tell 4 issues at a time, or an issue here or there. I want people who are here, they're ready to entertain, they're ready to make comics. This is who they are, this is what they want to do, and that's how it is. That's what I want. That's the ideal. That's what I'm looking for. We got Gerald here, says Tinseltown is my personal favorite at Alterna. It's a great title. I'm pretty sure Dave is releasing, I don't know if it's going to be this year, but I'm pretty sure the last time I talked to him, he said he wanted to put out a graphic novel on his own, do like a crowdfunder for Losing the Light, which is the 2nd volume of Tinseltown. And then he had more stories to tell. He still wants to keep in like a mini-series format, but he has more stories to tell. That's the last time I talked to him. I believe he said like 2024 he would start getting in production again on that. I'll have to check in with him on that. But he's 100% here. He said that, I pretty much have to take him kicking and screaming out of the Alterna virtual door. Christian Nomad. What's up, Christian Nomad? Hope you're doing well. Dr. Mass says Gods and Gears was new to me. Too bad we won't see more. Yeah, it's a good title. I mean, all these titles are great titles. I love them all. I never would have signed them on if I didn't think they were great. I never would have told you guys about them. I don't sign things here. And you guys might know this already. If not, I'll tell you. If you're new to Alterna and you've never heard this before, I don't sign anything from Alterna to Alterna's lineup unless I really, really like it, and I couldn't stand the thought of having another publisher publish it instead, and now I gotta go and buy it from them. I'd rather just publish it. So that's and it's like a gut feeling when the submission comes in. So that's my driving factor, determining, do I really want to publish this or not? And I think, well, do I want to buy this from someone else? So it might be, a lot cheaper to just spend the $5 maybe somewhere else or whatever it would be. But it's that feeling, that I forever would be looking at that book going, it should have been an Alterna book. So that's the driving factor for me. So I love all the books that have been here. They're all great. Regardless of what has ever happened with the creator, I talk about separate art from the artist on some cases. Regardless of whatever has happened with any of the creators, I love the books. I love the books, I love the characters and the stories, and they're all great. Randy says, Downcast, unexpected. I would have figured you'd have it in the future after the next trade. I'm guessing that's what that means. Yeah, I mean, like I said, sometimes things just don't work out, and you can kind of see the projection of things happening. Now, it started really well, and then it kept kind of precipitously falling off, and it looked like there was relatively no end in sight at the Alterna level. Hopefully, on his own personal level, where he's going to be doing it and putting it out just on his own, maybe he'll see an upswing in something. Who knows? However he wants to release it or do it or whatever it is, it's up to him, entirely up to him. And that's the beauty of creator-owned as well. And I think that's the appeal for some creators of wanting to be at Alterna, is because it's a relatively easy place to be at. The contract is open-ended, so the creators, for better or worse, but again, like I said, the point of Alterna was to empower the creator, not to lock them into some devious thing for life. The contract is basically open-ended for either of us. If it's not working out, you can back out of it. Now, you hope that everybody uses their judgment and discretion before doing something, because that's depending upon when you do it, it could be devastating for all involved, or for one side, or whatever. So you hope that no one's out there to just kind of hurt someone else or anything like that, or make a rash decision that hurts themselves. But with Downcast, it made sense to, instead of, let's say, because he's doing story arcs and it's not episodic. This is another reason why I want episodic ongoing titles, because of the fact that it's that way. And we've had this happen before with other titles where the creator, like for instance, Wicked Righteous, I don't even know if he ever got the last 2 issues out. To cancel that in the middle of the series after like having readers wait almost like a year and a half, that really didn't sit well with me. But he said he would finish it. I believe Terry was the creator, and I don't think he ever did. I might be wrong. I didn't keep up with it, but I don't want that happening at Alterna. I've had that happen like 2 other times at Alterna. I don't want that happening anymore. So I would hate to publish like issue 8, let's say, where issue 7's on the cusp, and issue 8 comes along and it really is a nosedive, and now we really got to cancel it. And now all of a sudden at the start of a new story arc, it's canceled. So these are things I have to consider and think about as a publisher. It's better to just say, okay, a story arc has basically ended, and since the creator is still getting these things out, you can follow along with them and do that, and that would work out better than, right at the start of a story arc, the series gets canceled and we call it a day. I would hate to see that happen for everyone involved. So Gerald says making sequential art is hard. Single images or pinups are easier. Good sequential storytelling is a lot of consistent work. I agree. Gerald says that Voidwalker was great. Christian is good and has a lot of work going on. Yeah, Christian's fantastic. I mean, Christian's doing King Cryptid #1, and he's coloring King Cryptid #4, and he's coloring either 1 or 2 issues for the upcoming King Cryptid campaign. I can't say enough about Christian. Christian's great. Christian's been wonderful here. He's been great to work with. He's been wonderful to know. He's a hardworking guy, very talented, and we're going to be seeing more from Christian at Alterna in some way, shape, or form over the years to come. I can guarantee you that. Let's see. Dr. Mask says that's the way the indies used to be. Chuck Dixon, Graham Nolan, John Byrne, Tim Truman, Bo Hampton, etc., all got their start in the indies, which is, it's a good thing. Now we're seeing Alterna kind of still have a role of like I still envision it as a stepping stone of sorts for creators that are kind of finding their bearings. But we're also seeing indies turn a corner into not just being that, which is great. So we're seeing, Alterna be the home of certain titles like Blood Realm. It came out on a Wednesday, soon to be King Cryptid as well. And then like the other ones that I've mentioned, like we've got Wolf and Batsy coming into its own. Unit 44 is a whole new direction with great, wonderful stories and episodic ongoing format. When I talked to Wes about that, I was like, what do you think about doing it like this instead? Instead of these story arcs at a time. It's perfect to have it set up as case files and issue by issue. And he loved the idea, and it kind of re-inspired him. And he's hit the ground running. I don't think Wes can be stopped at this point. He's been coming up with so many stories, so many issues to do. It's a case of not enough time in the day, not enough budget. Like it always is when you've got that inspiration that strikes. But workhorse, they're all workhorses when it comes to that. I mean, you talk to Rob, you talk to Fabrizio, if you talk to Brian, oh my lord. And if you want to ask them about like what they have planned for the future, their ongoing, their issues that are yet to come out, the stories they want to do, the characters they have in mind. Oh man, like when we have Alterna meetings, it's not that I want them to, but it's hard to shut them up about this. They're so excited. It's the same thing with me. You guys know with me, I'm talking about King Cryptid. I feel like I'm just going to give away the whole entire series. I shouldn't do that. I should just pump the brakes a little bit and talk to you guys about it when the time is right, and then let you also discover a lot of things as you read the issues. But we're excited about these stories. We're excited about these characters. That's what I want. I want creators that are like that are just they're bubbling at the surface, waiting to talk about all this stuff. They're so excited and passionate about it. AL says, I hope there's no bad feelings because I really like all the creators, and I also like you a lot, Pete. I appreciate that, AL. I'll say this, whatever has ever transpired between me and any alternate creator, don't, even if there's an instance where I'm not getting along with someone or they're not getting along with me or whatever it is, I don't want you guys to feel like you need to be the kids at home that are torn between your parents or something like that. Enjoy what you want to enjoy. Enjoy what you want to enjoy. Enjoy the works you want to enjoy. If you like a certain creator and their books or their characters or whatever it may be, do that. Do that. Never feel like you need to be like Team Pete or Team this person or Team Alterna only and that and whatever. I don't want that kind of thing happening. Even the creators that have left a while ago, if they've done you right, if they've treated you well, if you like the stories they're making, follow them, read their stuff. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's different if someone's wronged you. If someone's wronged you, by all means, again, I'm not going to tell you, oh man, but they're so great. You should still like them regardless. So again, there's no reason for any of that kind of stuff. So whatever transpires, that don't let that affect you guys. Christian Nomad says, I'm so glad that Blood Realm, Tinseltown, Wolf and Batsy, Red Koi are staying. I love those comics more than a grown man should. Well, join the club. Red Koi especially, goodness. I sang the praises tonight of Blood Realm, Tinseltown, Wolf and Batsy, but Red Koi has so many great things in the works. Issue 6, that's a lot of you guys are going to be getting. Over 100 packages so far have shipped out for the fall campaign since the books got here on Monday. So you guys should be getting them very, very soon, a lot of the ones that have been shipped out. But Red Koi, starting with issue 6, is really a whole new direction for that series. Oh my lord. Talk about building upon the previous 5 issues and then injecting new life into the series with the Swan King. And the way that character is going to expand the world of the Red Koi universe, I guess you could say. It's wonderful. Tyler's doing such a great job. He's got more characters planned that are kind of like that too. So I'm really excited about it. Whenever I meet up with Tyler and he shows me the preview pages he has for upcoming issues, it is an experience. Man, oh man. You'd think he's like a historian detailing the events that are going to be happening as opposed to the events that have happened, but to him they've already happened. So it's kind of like getting this really crazy history lesson on Red Koi. GJ says, sorry this has happened to you, Pete. These things happen. Like I said before, I'd be lying if I said that it wasn't frustrating or disappointing, or especially with some of them that I'm kind of saddened by it. It's you got to find a way to work past it, right? There's so many other things to do, and there's so many creators that are here that not only do they want to be here, but they're here for you guys. They're here to tell their stories, and that kind of stuff gets me excited again. So not just for my own stuff that's coming out very soon, but also for theirs. It makes me really excited about what's in store for them. And that's what keeps me going and doing this kind of thing. When there's creators or creative teams that are kind of dragging their feet, and I get, messages from the readers, and I get people that are really upset about where's the issues? What's going on with the series? There hasn't been something new in like 2 years, it chips away a bit at me to say, I wish I knew. Because honestly, that's all I really could say. All I really could say in a lot of those cases is, I wish I knew what was really going on. I wish I knew where everyone was at. I wish I had some kind of a solid update I could relay to you guys. Even if the definitive answer was, the series is over, they're not going to do any more. It's like the not knowing, and I think all the readers can agree too, it's kind of like the not knowing, the lack of defined structure, the lack of communication on that front. That's the part that really makes you go nuts when you're really into a series, so it's all that kind of stuff. Like I said, it's unfortunate. So Jessica says, hot dang, that's a weird twist. I wonder what that was from. Dr. Mask says, I like my graphic novels, but I'm going to miss Downcast and Floppies. I'm just assuming Clint won't go that route. I don't think he is either, but I honestly don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Ross says, is Alterna still able to sell the remaining copies in stock? Yes, we are. We're able to sell the remaining ones in stock, and honestly, we'll have a clearance type of area set up eventually on the site, and I'll announce a sale on those titles, because to be perfectly honest with you, between Downcast, Legends of Log, Gods and Gears, Voidwalker, and Mighty Mascots, we're talking about, let's see, Mighty Mascots has 6 issues, a giant, and a blank variant. Downcast has 7 issues and a blank variant. Gods and Gears has 4 issues and a blank variant. Legends of Log has 4 issues, but then also the one-shot. Not too many of that one left, though, and then a blank variant. And then Voidwalker has 4 issues and a blank variant. Between all of that, it's roughly 30% of what's in the Alterna storage at this point. So it's taken up a big chunk of space. So we're going to have to really find a way to move a bunch of those books. And again, it's an unfortunate thing because of the fact that it is definitely a little trickier to talk up a title that is kind of just dead and gone in a way. A lot of people tend to want stuff that's the here and now and is currently continuing and that kind of thing. The good thing, though, about Gods and Gears, Legends of Log, Voidwalker, and even to a lesser extent Downcast, and then also I guess Mighty Mascots, is for the most part, these are all relatively complete story arcs. So there's nothing that is missing a piece of the story. So if you get Gods and Gears 1 to 4, that's a complete story. If you get Legends of Log was an episodic anthology. So there's a lot of short stories in Legends of Log over those 4 issues. It's not really a story arc necessarily. And then Mighty Mascots, the first 3 issues were a story arc. The second 3 issues were also a story arc. And then you get Voidwalker, those 4 issues were a story arc. So there's nothing there that's necessarily incomplete. There's Can't Kill Cade, which is a 4-issue miniseries. The first issue came out in 2020, the second came out in 2021, the third in 2022, which is right now it's getting shipped out. So the fourth is going to be 2023. We have that slated for the spring, and then it's going to be shipped to you in the summer if you guys get that title. I'm hoping that title works out. If not, we'll update you about anything that happens with that 4th issue. But again, that would be a complete story then as well. And then that would be a departure of that series too. But more to me, I view that as when a miniseries is ending, it's ending. It's not really there's no more of it. So it's not really necessarily too big of a departure. But again, it's creator owned. So if Spencer wanted to continue with Voidwalker or Can't Kill Cade on his own and put out more stories or whatever it is on his own or elsewhere, he's free to do that. But yeah, we still definitely have remaining copies in stock, and we'll be doing our best to sell through those as much as we can. Otherwise, we're gonna have to see about making donations and things like that as well, because they can't just sit taking up 30% of our overall storage. Seer of All That Is Obvious says Log was a cool concept, just needed better writing. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so there's a criticism for Log. Yeah, I would have loved to see Log have more of a full issue story format, something like that. I don't think it needed necessarily story arcs, but it would have been good to see it in more of a traditional sense of an entire issue to tell an entire story. But it is what it is. Christian Nomad said, no offense, but Voidwalker was a good idea, but poorly laid out. I struggled to read it. And Can't Kill Cade needed a tighter story. I'll miss Mighty Mascots on newsprint, though. Oh, duly noted. Rex Doom says, agreed with Nomad. Dr. Mask says, I'm with you. Voidwalker was the first alternative book I didn't dig. I thought it may have just been me. That's another case, too, of That's why, again, I'm preaching with a lot of the creators that are here with Alterna right now, and I've been trying to do this with a lot of the ones that are no longer with us, in one way or the other. And I don't mean in the spiritual sense, but I've been trying to preach episodic. That's what makes comics so great. The ability to tell a story within an issue. If you tell a story, let's say, and you're on issue, I mean, you could be on issue 1, and you see it's like a 4 or 5 issue miniseries, and that first issue doesn't really grab you at all. That could be it. You're done. Let's say that doesn't get good till issue 3 or 4. You never really would have known, and you kind of don't really stick with it. But if it's episodic and every single thing is a different story, a different thing going on. Maybe this issue wasn't that great, but you go, I kind of like the character. I like the art. The writing's not so bad. Let's see what the next issue is about. Maybe the next issue catches your eye. It makes you go, oh, yeah, I'll read that. Yeah, I'll pick that one up. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, you're judging it more based on the events of the character, the journey that they're on, as opposed to necessarily what the plot is overall throughout, and is it being built up properly, and is it being built out and paced well enough to keep your attention from issue to issue so that you can read that entire story in its fulfillment. It's that decompressed versus compressed storytelling kind of a thing. I'm trying to get more towards that compressed storytelling that makes comics so great. All of my favorite comics were compressed storytelling, and then of course you can have the overlying subplot, that little kind of arc throughout, and you tie it all with continuity, and things matter from issue to issue. You can still do all of that, but there's a big difference between you're just taking a story and then you're splitting it, as opposed to, no, here's the story, and then here's another story, and here's another story, and then throughout that entire story you have this overarching thing that's occurring. There's a big difference in that kind of writing, and that's the kind of writing that I'm doing with King Cryptid, and a bunch of the other alternate creators are doing with their books as well. Let's see. Christian Nomad says, I wish these creators good luck and good health in the future, but Alterna still has a killer lineup. I appreciate that, Christian. And we absolutely do. With every fiber of my being, I believe that. GJ says, I'm not supporting any creators that leave Alterna. Well, again, as the reader, that is your right. Jay Lee says, keep your chin up and keep moving forward. Things happen and you will have new replacements to take those books. So keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate that, Jay. Yeah, I mean, I'll get into this at a different point in time, but I'll touch upon it a little bit. Alternate submissions have been, for the first time ever in our 17-year history, this year, they're only open for 2 months, April and September. And the biggest reason for that is that I'm really focusing on the issues we have, building those up, building what's around them, making sure to give them the attention that they deserve. And then on top of that, aside from all of it, I've been noticing a steep decline in the submission quality that we're getting. I'm noticing way too many people are not taking their time to actually learn how to create comics, to actually craft a story, to do all these things that they should be taking the time to do instead of submitting to a publisher. Even when it comes to business-wise, we have a question on there that asks them about their plans for marketing, their plans for spreading the word. What are they bringing to the table? And you would be surprised, around 80% of the submissions, they don't know what to do for that, or they don't plan on doing anything for that. That's not the kind of book I want to publish. So I'd rather we stick to quality over quantity. In a day and age where everyone is making a comic nowadays, as a publisher, if I didn't care at all about it, I could literally sign whoever, whenever. We could have a lineup of 100-something books. We could have one of the biggest lineups in all of comics. But out of those 100, are 90 absolutely terrible? And would that affect the 10 that are really good? Yeah, it would. It absolutely would. It's one thing to have 90 that are great and 10 that aren't so great. It's another thing to have the mass majority of it be people who should not be publishing just yet. They have more to learn. They have more to do. They're not ready yet. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to you as the reader to ask the reader to pay for something that the publisher knows is just not ready yet. It's bad. That's not fair. I don't see a company like that lasting very long. I wouldn't want to support a company like that. So I'd rather we stick to quality over quantity. Kier, what's up, Kier, my friends? Is howdy chat and howdy Pete. Hope you're doing good, Kier. Get over it says people wanting to change direction is fine, but being a jerk about it that's where I don't want to support them. There is a right way to do things, and they don't seem to understand that. Yeah, it's the fan and the reader in me agrees wholeheartedly. I'll say it as that. Gerald says Red Koi by Tyler is real good and solid, consistent title. Rob's killing it too. Yeah, two very good titles, very good, kind of like adventure fantasy titles. Very good stuff. AL says I wish I wish everyone the best and hope everyone has much success. I hope so too. Comic Talk with Pops Van Zant. Hope you're doing good. Thank you for joining us today. Let's see. Cam says, looking at the titles leaving, it feels mostly like addition by subtraction to me. I agree, Cam. So if we look at it again and just revisit it, we're talking about two titles that really kind of haven't been here for 3 years, which is Gods and Gears and Voidwalker. Then you're looking at Legends of Log, which is like one issue a year, and hasn't had an issue in all of 2022. And then we have Downcast, which has probably been one of the more consistent releases, but it's because it's being republished. So Clint publishes it first, and we break it up, and we have the single issues out and things like that. And it was a fun way to do it for a time, but it's clear that in the long run, it's not really working. Whether it's the system that's working or not working or whatever. I know some people may think, oh, well, it might be the economy or it might be republishing or whatever it is. So I'll say this. The very first batch of Alterna newsprint titles that came out, they were republished by us. So we had broken up because it was an experiment. The newsprint stuff was an experiment. It was supposed to just be kind of we did it. And now that we did it, we can say we did it, and it didn't work out, okay, whatever. But it ended up becoming a defining moment for the company, not just kind of a fun thing to do. So what happened was that we had titles like Adam Wreck, which was already a graphic novel. We split that up. We had Trespasser, same thing. We split that up. The Chair had been around with Alterna since 2006 in print-on-demand issues. Eventually became a graphic novel in 2008, and eventually, single issues 2017. Found a whole entire new audience with single issues. Same thing for Mother Russia. Same thing with even earlier titles like Scrimshaw. It's hard to think about a lot of the titles at the time. There's only a couple of them that weren't either released digitally or as a graphic novel first. Most of them were that way. And then we republished them. Now, with this format, with Clint, it was very similar to the format that we used early on, where the creator already had a graphic novel out, and then we put single issues out. And it did really good in the first couple of issues, and then it kind of precipitously kept dropping off. And I don't know if it was going to hit a plateau. I didn't really necessarily see it plateauing. But there was a bunch of things I thought that could have been done to increase awareness of that. We're not talking about newsprint issues at Alterna are $20 a piece. They're relatively affordable, $2 or so. So to not be able to find a way to reach people, to basically say this is the best it's going to get. And I don't know what else we could do. That's kind of where we were at. And at that point in time, it just felt like, well, what's the point? If we've hit a wall with this, And there's no more to do. There's no more we can do. Everything is being done that's been done, and it's still not budging. And at that point in time, before it gets bad, because you don't want to do this thing where you cancel books, especially creator-owned books. And when I say you, I mean me. I don't want to do this thing where I'm canceling a book after both Alterna and the creators have suffered tremendous losses. Just dig in that hole. Everyone's just losing tons and tons and tons of money and time. It makes more sense to say, look, it's getting bad. It's staying bad. Before it gets horrible, let's just call it a day. And that's where it was with Downcast. And then with Mighty Mascots, Mighty Mascots of all of them, and I've known Keith for 7 years, it's perplexing to me. But it's his thing. So if he wants to put it out on his own, he could put it out on his own. But I don't have any answers for you guys on that. One second. My throat. So, when it comes to that, it's more like your guess is as good as mine. Is it to say that there were never any conversations or anything like that? I've had conversations with every single creator about this isn't up to standards. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to tweak that. You got to change that. What's going on here with this issue? What's going on here with that page? The writing's not consistent with this, whatever it is. So I come in as some kind of editorial in a way to help them out. But as far as diverging, paths completely, news to me. This dry air in the winter does not help. Doctor, no, that's not it. I was looking at Christian Nomad. Let's see here. Rex says, you can't be someone who stretches out fulfillment for 30 years. Too late for that, I guess. Well, I'm definitely not someone that does that, that's for sure. GJ says, I'm tired of waiting for commissions that had nothing to do with a certain campaign. I had to wait a very long time to receive said campaign to find out I was missing 2 sketch cards. I'm done. Wow. I'm guessing that was an Alterna creator. That's not something I'm okay with. I just want to say, if you guys are ever backing an Alterna creator's project and you're thinking, man, I don't think Pete would be cool with this, chances are Pete's not cool with it. So I want to make you guys known with that. But there's things that can't come to light and can't be discussed sometime. Discretion being the better part of valor. So, I'm here to... I hate doing things like this, right? And we got about a minute. I hate doing things like this where it becomes this kind of... almost like I'm having a press conference with you guys. I'd rather be entertaining with comics. I'd rather be keeping things upbeat and moving forward. Being put in this kind of position on this level with that is a little bit, something that I don't really enjoy. Even though it's a necessity to maintain communication about what's occurring. Gerald says, Tinseltown hopefully will continue. I hope so too. I think Dave hopes so as well. I think he just has other things going on and he wants to revisit it. The last time I talked to him, probably around August, he said 2024. He'd have more issues starting up. I don't know if they'll be released in 2024, but he told me he plans on starting to work on them again in 2024. Eric the Guapo, what's up? Eric says, Alterna marches on. Absolutely, 100%. Marsh says, question, do you still plan on accepting new titles and submissions? Yes, in April and September. So the months of April and September, submissions will open up. Submissions are still open, though, for it came out on a Wednesday. Well, looks like timing has gone and rung. I see that there's still a bunch of questions left. I'm gonna give you guys 5 more minutes. I'm gonna be really brief with a lot of the answers. I'm not gonna expound too much. I want to make sure to get through this as much as I can. Statistical Zero says, I think Alterna is going to have a good year. Each of those titles are solid in building. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to be looking for questions at this point. So if I don't see any questions, I'll just skip over certain comments. Let's see. Thank you guys so much, though, again, for watching tonight and for participating. And any questions or concerns that you do have, if I don't manage to answer them, please leave them as comments here or reach out to me. Through either email at contact@alternacomics.com or send me a DM on Twitter or whatever else if you have, again, any questions or concerns on the titles that are here, not here, whatever it may be. And I'll do my best to answer them if possible. Like I said, there's some instances where I can't give too many answers. I wish I could. Let's see here. Let's see. Cam says, absolutely agree that Alterna should be composed of creators with long-term plans. Glad to hear that seems to be taking shape. I agree too. GJ says, out with the old and with the new. Aloise says, everyone parted on good terms, I hope. That is something I cannot comment on. I will be giving my discretion on that question. I hope you can understand and respect that. Ross says, if I could draw, I'd totally submit to Alterna. Well, thank you, Ross. Let's see. Gen X says, Dag, just got here. Keep hope alive. 100%. Yeah, lots of hope still. Lots of not just hope in a abstract sense, but concrete, definitive, good things to be happy about coming out. It's a good year. It's a good year. I know it's starting off in a rocky way, and I can't really get into too many of the great things coming out the rest of the year, but I promise you it's going to be a very good year. Art of Alex says, been a while for me. Glad to see you, Pete. Sorry to hear about the title drops, but excited to see the new stuff coming soon. Thank you. Let's see. Jackson says, what happened with... Oh, that's to Randy. Okay. Sark says, guess I got some catching up to do. Thank you, Sark, for joining us. Aldous as well. Dr. Mask says, I think an ongoing story is tough with crowdfunding. I really don't want to wait a year or two to see what happens next. Well, you say that, but King Cryptid is the same way. So it's easier, I think it's easier to do it in batches and kind of have something like that, as opposed to something that is kind of playing out and, you know, you are, because that's the thing, right? We see a lot of the stories that are like, you think they're continuing, but they're, you know, they got you on a cliffhanger. So now you got to wait Lord knows how long to get the fulfillment. You know, it's like kind of getting the setup and the delivery and the punchlines 3 years later. That's tough. But having an episodic style story of, you know, story to story to story, and it definitively ended, and you're like, oh, the next one's coming out. Oh, cool. Let's see what's up with this and what kind of stories are going to be told in this one. You know, it's for me anyway, maybe not for you, but for me, I'd much rather see that kind of a thing. Aloe says, are there other insert for the alternate comics boxes? I want to change it from the Rad Rose one I got. Did you get the secret perk? Well, see, the collector case inserts are kind of one and done sort of things. If you got the secret perk link, let me know. Send me a DM or something like that on Twitter, or message me at contact@alternacomics.com. The secret perk link has Horace H. Hoover, Unit 44, and it came out on a Wednesday insert. Front and side pocket for Horace and Unit, but only the front. It came out on a Wednesday. Let me know, I'll get you that link. Nomad says, curious, how much of the story and concept plot do you need to see fleshed out before you consider it complete enough to take a chance at publishing it? Usually I need to see 8 pages, and I'd like to see an idea for a cover. If I could see, if more than 8 pages are ready, I'll talk to the creator about that. But in the submission, we ask for 8 pages. Oh boy, oh boy. I want to answer the questions, but let's see. I'll go through it pretty quickly here. Let's see. I'm not seeing too many more questions here. Mostly comments. Let's see. Darth Josh says, will there be a Wolf and Batsy short box? I sure hope so. I sure hope so. I think we're going to try to time that out for the fall campaign of this year. But I sure hope so. Yeah. I'd love to do that. And I know Brian would too. Let's see. Hey, William, what's up? Hope you're doing good. Let's see. Movie World says, Pete, in all seriousness, it would be great if you got the creators submitting to you to let you publish some submissions in a How Not to Make Comics book so people know what to avoid. Goodness gracious. I don't think anyone would let that happen, but I appreciate it. Midnight Mausoleum says, Adam Reck, my first 3 alternate comics. There you go. Great comics. Great comics. It's, it's crazy, right? You reminisce about those sort of things. It's been a while. They must smell nice and musty and newsprinty at this point. Mine do. I can only imagine that your copies must as well. Let's see. N7 was Downcast the final issue of the story, or was there more planned? There was the final issue of that story arc, but Clint does have more planned. Clint has more planned for that, and he'll be doing that on his own. Let's see. Dr. Masters honestly discovered Alterna the company before I discovered any of the creators. My first books were Tinseltown and Feast and Famine. Feast or Famine. Yeah, very good. Good stuff. Let's see. Jefferson says, Monstro was becoming a fan favorite character based on commissions and sketch cards that I've seen. Too bad the popularity couldn't be leveraged. I agree. Randy said... He said the Indiegogo messed them up with different orders and stuff. That's a different comment to somebody else. Captain Goodnight says, Pete, what was Alterna's first original comic series that wasn't previously published as a graphic novel? For the newsprint, I'm guessing, is what you're asking. That would probably be... I would guess it would probably be Amazing Age. I could swear, because it would be Amazing Age, because we put Croak out first as a digital comic, and it did really well. And then Lilith Dark was the same. And the first 4 issues, the first 4 titles that were released on the newsprint in May 2017 was Adam Reck, Croak, Lilith Dark, and Amazing Age. So it would be Amazing Age that was not released in any capacity before that at Alterna. And I think maybe it might have been a print-on-demand thing, like a really small run, like years before. But not with Alterna, though, with the creators on their own. Let's see. Kier says, more show. AL, will you still go to Plastic City Comic-Con? No, I will not. No. I have no plans of ever returning to that show ever again. Ross says, when does Timey Tim get his own series? He's showing up here and there in certain capacities, and he'll show up eventually in King Cryptid. I can't tell you when and why and how, but he will. He'll probably have his biggest part in that series. That's years from now, though. Will Baron Rat be a graphic novel like the Mr. Crypt ones are? You mean like a giant? Most likely, probably in like maybe a year or so, like in 2024, that lineup. We'll compile it. We still have copies of issues of, some issues of 1. We've got a bunch of them, but they're not in great shape. And then issues 2 and 3, we still have copies of that. So once that sells through, I'll talk to Troy about a giant that compiles them. Let's see. William says, you're going to have another great year, Pete. Thank you, William. I appreciate that. Hey, Pete Engstrom. What's up, Pete Engstrom? Hope you're doing well, my friend. GJ says, looking forward to the new books in 2023. Thank you, GJ. I appreciate that. N7 says, are there any planned alternate giants coming in the future? We got Blood Realm Volume 4, which will be Wrath of Kings. And then, aside from that, I still have to talk to some of the alternate creators about some of the different things. The giants at that point in time, it's going to be a little trickier. It might turn more into like kind of a compendium, depending upon, like a greatest hits. So depending upon which issues sell out and things like that. I've said and I don't know if you guys have caught this before, but I've said it with King Cryptid. I don't plan on putting out a trade or anything like that of King Cryptid until our 10th year. And then it's going to be a fan vote where you guys let me know which issues you like the best. and then those 4 or 5 issues, the top ones that get voted, will get turned into a trade. So it'll kind of be like a, voted by you guys as the best issues. Because King Cryptid, it's easier to do that. It's episodic. And then we'll have story arcs once in a while with King Cryptid, but most of them won't be story arcs. It'll mostly be an issue, a standalone, self-contained issue that ties into the overall continuity. But it's not, part 1 of 4 or part 1 of 3 or something like that. It's actually just an issue. Let's see, AL says, always support alternate. Pete, I appreciate that, AL. And I also appreciate that too, GJ. Thank you. Dr. Mass says, yeah, that's what I was saying. Cliffhangers for crowdfunding is not good. Yeah, I agree. Get those stories with some kind of an ending, some kind of a resolution. And even if there's a setup still for something to come, get that resolution on there. Make sure you finish the story you're telling. Christian Nomad says, suggestion, my LCS randomly takes alternate arcs like Gods and Gears and puts them all in one bag and sells them for $4. They should sell them for more than that. You should check eBay. Maybe something like that could move those copies left in storage. Good suggestion, and that is something that definitely we will be doing. Kind of like a title bundle, We did that before, and people seem to like that. Pete Engstrom says, the collection of alternate creators the last few years has been terrific. Sad to see some of them go, and I hope these guys continue on with their books. Looking forward to 23. I appreciate that. Yeah, absolutely, Pete. Can you do wraparound covers? Yeah, Kier. Yeah, we could do wraparound covers. It depends, though, on the creator. It's creator-owned, so it depends on the creator and what they want to do. If they want to present me with, hey, Pete, I got a wraparound cover to do, let's do it, and we'll do that. All right, I really mean it. 5 more minutes, and then that's it, because I got to get to fulfillment. Randy goes, will this affect the foil trading cards? Okay, let's see here. So, Log, strangely enough, if Ski Suharsky, the creator of Log, had contacted me a couple months earlier, it would have affected the Log alternate foil. But he didn't. They were already made. They were made over a month ago. Other than that, card number 5 is Abigail Moore. That doesn't affect it. Number 6 would be Agent Gibson. That doesn't affect it from Unit 44. T-Bird and Throttle was number 7. I guess the only one that it would be affected by would be Joe from Downcast. So that would be affected. By the time we get that one out, that would have been like a campaign in 2024. So that will be affected. We'll have a different one for that. Hell, we'll probably do Throttle on that one. That'd be kind of nice. It'll be T-Bird, then King Cryptid, and then Throttle. Yeah, we'll do that. So you heard it here first. So card number 9 for the alternative foil in 2024 at some point in time will be Throttle. Ross Wolf says, any chance of a stream with you talking shop with other comic editors like that guy from Udon? Well, I've already talked to him. Matt, right? That was a good talk. At this point in time, I don't have anything like that planned. I don't say no, though, to anything like that. I think that would be kind of fun. J.R. Exner says, I just got here. Downcast and Mighty Mascots. All the humanity. I agree. Gerald Lang says, Scrimshaw was my first alternate title I read. Art grabbed me right away. Different feel to it. And then, good night, AL. Hope you're doing good. And it looks like we're rounding down to the end. Brian's on Leol. What's up, Brian? Hope you're doing good as well. Thank you for joining us, even though it's at the end. Simon on 7 says, hello, everyone. Glad to see you. It's been a while. Busy last 6 months for me. Hope you're doing well, Simon on 7. I haven't seen you in a bit. Hope everything's doing good. Sebastian says, holy cow, am I catching a video live right now? Hey, chat. Hey, Pete. I'm hyped on that King Cryptid, man. Putting in my order ASAP. Thank you, man. That means the world to me. Thank you. I appreciate that, Sebastian. And indeed, yes, we're live for a little bit to for now. But I'm glad you could still catch this live, and I really appreciate your support and the kind words that you've had for the books here. Simonon says, one goes away and things got wild. I wonder what that was alluding to or referencing or responding to. William says, I have to salute all you've done. Getting creator-owned titles out into the world. It's a lot of work for me outside of any distributor, and I imagine your workload is immense. It is, which is why I have to wrap it up tonight. And I spent a little too much time on this than I wanted to, but I'm glad I got through everything here. So I'm glad I did spend the extra 15 minutes. Simonon says, Happy New Year, Pete, and everyone. Yes, I know it's January 19th. That's how this year has been for me. Well, hey, man, I appreciate it. You know, you're so close. You missed the first New Year. You're right on time, though, for an early, happy Lunar New Year. So we'll slide it on over a little bit for you, Simonon. Eric Housel says, Hey, Pete and chat. Missed my alert for the stream. Oh, boy. Let's see. Brian says, wait, Clint left too? Dang. Yeah, it just wasn't working out. It's as simple as that. Gerald says, gotta hit the sack. Good night, everyone. Keep on trucking, Pete. Thank you so much. Kier says, back King Cryptid. Indeed. Kier's got his great work on issue 4, which is half finished right now. 1, 2, and 3 are finished. Number 4, I'm halfway through it. N7 says it'll all work out in the end. 100%, yeah. Hail Alterna, hail Pete. Appreciate that. Simonon says, we got your back, Pete. I know you guys do. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Metatron says, have a great evening, everyone. Simonon says, you're the wabbit, the wascally wabbit, indeed. And like a wascally wabbit, we'll find our way to make it through the briar patch. Dr. Mask says a new moon special incoming. No more new moon or full moon specials. All of my attention is given towards fulfillment and completion of the King Cryptid books and getting everything else done with that campaign too, so we can start fulfillment on time towards the end of February, early March. And then there will be full moon and new moon specials on the upcoming campaign for issues 5 to 9. That's probably going to launch around like May to June. But no more new moon or full moon specials on King Cryptid for the rest of this year. Well, for that campaign. Let's see. Seer says, pull down your pants and slide on the ice. Jackson Zelda. Thank you, Jackson. I appreciate it. Eric says, thanks for what you're doing, Pete. And good night, all. Christian says, it's funny that Alterna is indie and has 7 great series, but the mainstream doesn't have 7 good series among the 150. And that's what I'm talking about. Right? I'd rather have quality over quantity. We could easily be in a position. I get over 1,000 submissions a year. I could easily be in a submission to take the top 100 of those 1,000. But what a disservice it would be to them and to you, because these aren't submissions that are necessarily entirely ready yet to get out into the world. They're not up to par, and then that would be of a detriment to the really good stuff that's here, because it's all over the place. There's no consistency as a publisher. Everything just looks like, some stuff is really good, and then some stuff is horrible, So you can't trust in a publisher then that's putting out stuff like that when there's lack of consistency across the board. It feels like there's nothing coming out for rhyme or reason. But I appreciate that, and I get that you get where I'm coming from. Gen X says King will be integrated into the seasonal campaigns. Absolutely. King Cryptid number 1 will be on the fall 2023 campaign. Fall 2023. All right, so... and backers, of course, for the King Cryptid campaigns are always getting their stuff first, well in advance. Thank you guys so much for watching tonight. I appreciate all your questions, concerns, and comments. Again, if something wasn't answered, or if you watch this video later on, you got a question for me or a comment or whatever, either leave it as a reply in the comments of the video, or sorry. I tell you, the dry air in winter gets to me. Or contact me at contact@alternacomics.com, or reach out directly to me on Twitter at Peter Cimetti. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for all of your support. Everything tonight, for you guys coming here and responding and sharing your thoughts with me. Really appreciate that. Keep it up. A lot of great stuff coming in 2023. Tremendous titles with some really great issues and some pretty cool merch too coming out this year. Some of the stuff. Goodness gracious. All right. Back to fulfillment for me. Everybody have a wonderful night, and I'll see you when I see you. Thanks so much, guys. All the best.